The other day I was shaving, getting ready for work, when I nicked myself on the face. I was attending to the nick when I decided to take a look at myself in the mirror. Now, this I recommend for only the very brave. I took a hard look at myself in the mirror, and suddenly what I saw was somebody who looked very old, very ugly, very fat. And that started a whole line of judgments and condemnations toward the image I was seeing in the mirror. Later, I was taking the train into work, and on my phone came up one of those notifications that they were sending me pictures of my past. Memories of Juan Enrique, it said. I decided to look at it. And for the most part, what I saw in there were images of a young version of myself, very thin, very fit, very happy. I was in a canoe, I was preaching, I was smiling, I was laughing, I was just seemed to be enjoying life. And as I looked at those pictures, in addition to the judgment I had in front of the mirror, I started feeling very sad. Because I realized that vibrant, handsome, fit, younger version of myself was never going to appear again. And I was mourning the sadness of that. And, when I combined the judgment and the sadness, I sort of had a wake-up call. Because, sometimes it takes us to really go over the edge with judgment and condemnation and feelings in order to kind of wake up. So I did wake up, and I said to myself, wow, I seem to be going down a hole here. I need to make an adjustment. And as I was thinking it through, I said, boy, time sure flies. Those pictures look like it just happened yesterday. And I was thinking about time and the passage of time when I remembered the poem by Antonio Machado. And he says the following: todo pasa y todo queda, pero lo nuestro es pasar, pasar haciendo caminos, caminos sobre la mar. Everything passes and everything stays, but ours is to pass making paths upon the sea. The poem goes on, but those were the words that I remember. Everything passes and everything stays, but ours is to pass. In other words, that time has passed, that epoch in my life has passed. And I was thinking about this image about making paths upon the sea. And that led me to remember the scripture story of Peter walking upon the water when Jesus bid him forward. And I'd like to read you that scripture today as a basis of what we're going to discuss. This is Matthew 14:25-33. And early in the morning he came walking toward them on the sea. But when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified, saying, "It is a ghost." And they cried out in fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them and said, "Take heart, it is I. Do not be afraid." And Peter answered him, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come on to the water." And he said, "Come." So Peter got out of the boat and started walking on the water and came towards Jesus. But when he noticed the strong wind, he became frightened. And beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me." Jesus immediately reached out his hand and caught him, saying to him, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" And when they got into the boat, the wind ceased, and those in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." Juan Enrique Toro greeting you on this marvelous day, thanking you for joining us, thanking you for the thumbs up, the subscription, and of course those wonderful donations. Very grateful for that. It's really fills my heart with gratitude for all that excellent support that you've been giving me. Thank you so very much. And so today we have this story of Peter, and this is a marvelous story. It's a story that is full of metaphysical implications for us. And I think the first question that we need to ask ourselves is, why did Peter ask Jesus if he could come to him? When you think about it, it seems like a very strange request. My way of looking at it is that Peter suddenly caught a vision. You know, he had something that was sort of calling him forward, some new possibility in life which he'd never thought of before. We could say in spiritual language that he heard a call to sort of come up higher. This is very exciting. Now, what's the problem with that call, with that vision? Well, it defies the laws of physics to begin with. It's something obviously that he had never done before in his life. And of course, it, you know, in any logical mind, it's absolutely impossible. What about the other side of the coin? Well, it was very exciting. This vision that he had was very exciting, and it was definitely worthwhile. There was a big yes inside of him saying, wow, look at what's possible. And that excitement rose up in him enough for him to say, would you bid me come to you? And Jesus said, yes, come on. So, like I say, there's marvelous metaphysics here. Anytime that we're going towards anything that we feel is worthwhile, that is really important, that is, very valuable or precious in our life, we're always going to step out onto a surface that will not hold our weight. That's the amazing thing about this story. When we feel called to step up higher, we're going to step out of the boat onto a surface that will not hold our weight. And so, what are we going to do with this? And yet, we know that this vision that we have, this something is possible, is precious, and yes, it's very exciting, very worthwhile. And so what Peter demonstrates to us is what holds us on the surface, what enables us to walk on this very difficult terrain, right, is the depth of our attention on what calls us. Peter was looking at Jesus. He was focused on that. He was definitely connected to Jesus. And as soon as he turned his head, his gaze, he left the gaze of Jesus and he started looking at the waves. Suddenly, he starts to sink. Of course, this tells us that it is, therefore, the quality of our attention, of our focus on that which is calling us, that will hold us above the surface. Which brings up the question then, how willing are we when we feel called to something higher? How willing are we to hold that attention? Because as long as we do, we'll be supported. But the minute we start deflecting, we'll slip beneath the surface of the waves. I think we also need to ask ourselves the question, why did Peter turn away? Why did he not continue to look at Jesus? Well, I believe that Peter did not believe that he deserved the experience that was calling him, that he wasn't worthy of it in some way, that he really could not sustain the fierceness, that's a great word, the fierceness of the gaze that Jesus was giving him, and he could not offer the gaze that he needed to give back to Jesus. You know, the spiritual path, our spiritual growth is not about safety. It's not about comfort. It's always calling us onto a new frontier, onto a new edge of our life, in which something new is seeking to be expressed, to be born, to be realized, to be seen. And this is often a very scary place. It's definitely unknown to us because it has not been part of our experience in the past, and yet it is something very exciting to us. And so Peter here is demonstrating that yes, he was initially very excited about this. He thought it was definitely worthwhile. Big yes inside of him, despite all of the craziness, the impossibility of it. And he managed to hold that attention for a time. But then in deeper reflection, his worthiness, the love that he felt that he deserved got in the way. And he started to slip beneath the surface. And so we need to ask ourselves today, what is our frontier? What is calling us forward? What is calling us to go outside of the boat and walk on the water? What excitement, what worthwhile idea is there for you? I perform many weddings, and as a wedding officiant, I oftentimes think when I'm, talking to a young couple that's getting married, that they have no idea on the journey that they're beginning together. That this marriage will ultimately take them to a frontier in life that they cannot imagine in the place that they are. They're going to need to come into a deeper understanding of who they are, of what life is about, what love is about. It's a wonderful journey. And so, again, what is your frontier? Could it be a project that you feel excited about? You're looking at a vision of the future, maybe some opportunity, some kind of work possibility, some creative expression. Maybe it's a relationship that you feel is calling you and you feel excited about that, but also maybe a little tenuous, but you're excited about it. You feel that it's definitely worthwhile. Is it perhaps a conversation? Is that frontier a conversation that you need to have that is going to expose some vulnerability, some of your weakness or some of your darker side? But it's a conversation that is absolutely necessary to have with another individual, or maybe something you need to come to admit to yourself, about yourself. Does it have to do with forgiveness? Are there issues in your life which you are still carrying, which you haven't been willing to turn over, to forgive, to do your spiritual work? Is that the frontier? Is that the edge that's calling you? So whatever it is, it's as if Jesus is extending a hand to you, to me, to all of us, saying, step out of the boat. And as long as you can keep the attention on that excitement, on that vision, on that possibility, the surface of the water is going to hold you, it's going to sustain you, it's going to carry you. And so that hand is the hand that we're all invited to take. Understanding, of course, that initially that surface is not able to support us unless we can hold the vision. This is why Jesus says to Peter, why did you doubt? You don't have the faith. In this case, faith and attention are joined together. This idea of having enough attention on the excitement, the vision, even though it seems impossible, even though you've never done it before, even though it may defy the laws of physics or economics or whatever it may be. It's exciting. It's calling you. And life is asking us to put our hand into that vision, into that expression of our higher self. And know that that hand really belongs to us. That it really is an expression of who and what we are. It's a beautiful expression of what has already been given. It's an opportunity for us to demonstrate to ourselves and to the world who we truly are as children of God. And so in this exploration here today, it's my intention to inspire you to go ahead and reach out, to go beyond the frontier, into the unknown, into the dark, into the dangerous, into the impossible. If you feel that there's an authentic call there, then give it your attention, give it your heart, give it your soul. Focus on that. And you know what? Even if you, on the way, feel that you turned away, you looked at the waves, you didn't feel you deserved it, you can work on that. And just like Jesus took Peter out of the water and rescued him, we are rescued once again by our spiritual work. By doing the work that helps us elevate ourselves to that consciousness, to realize that these are thoughts that we're having, these are emotions that have, but ultimately they have no power over us. And this is what I needed to do the other day. I came to realize that my edge, my particular frontier, has to do with both forgiveness and acceptance. Forgiveness of some relationships that I need to put in order, but also acceptance. I need to work on deep acceptance of the particular season that I am in my life today as a 68-year-old man. And come to fully accept that, to embrace that, to be blessed by where I happen to be in my life today. And that's my journey right now. To hold my attention on that, give it all of my faith, give it all of my heart, and know that I'm putting my hand into a vision that is going to bring me up higher, to bring me into a deeper state of peace. I'd like to share with you today a poem that has inspired me greatly in this process. And it is a poem entitled Love After Love. The poet is Derek Walcott, and he says the following: "The time will come when with elation you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at each other's welcome and say, 'Sit here, eat.' You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life." You can tell why I like this poem, because peel yourself from the mirror is exactly what I needed to do. Peel off that image. Sit and feast on my life. Juan Enrique Toro greeting you on this wonderful day, thanking you for the thumbs up, thanking you for the subscriptions and those wonderful donations. The links for offering a donation will be in the show notes here today. And as we say each week, life is consciousness and consciousness is life.